Maybe you already noticed it, but the PlayStation 5 just got a big update, which only seems to happen like twice a year, so I want to run down everything you need to know and also touch on a brand new 2022 PS5 model as showcased by YouTuber Austin Evans, because there are some noticeable differences. Of course, a like on the video would be really awesome, subscribe for more PS5 news, and let's go. The biggest addition that is available for everyone is totally the game list feature. You can access this by going to your game library and then collection. Hit the plus icon on the left and then you will be able to add titles from all the games that you own. I, for example, made one with all the Assassin's Creed games I have on PlayStation, and then afterwards it appears above your collection, so you can way more easily access these titles. But you can also easily make folders about other things, like I made one with all my Marvel games, or your backlog, which might actually be the best use of this feature. The only sad part is that you cannot sort, so you have to scroll through all the games. They're like sorted on alphabetical order, so for a game with like the S or the T, you have to scroll all the way down. I also made one folder with all the best exclusives on the platform, and if you just want to add an extra game to your list, you can very easily do so. You can have up to 15 game lists in total, by the way, and 100 games per list. Although I would argue that if you put 100 games in these lists, it kinda defeats the purpose. The same game can, by the way, appear in multiple lists. So I think it's a great feature overall. If you've been playing on a 1440p display, they can go to screen and video output, and then select a 1440p resolution for a native experience. Or when playing on a 4K screen, you can turn it down to 1440p for improved anti-aliasing, which smooths out the rough edges of an image. Digital Foundry has an example here. I personally think this is only for people with a really good eye for detail. I think most players won't really notice it. There's also a new 1440p output test feature to see if your screen supports it. And if we stay in the settings menu, we can go to audio, because right now you have an option to easily hear the difference between regular audio and 3D audio. I think they added this as well for TV or home speakers, and also if you have a 3D audio headset connected to the PS5, like Sony's own Pulse headset, they can now listen to the differences between stereo and 3D. Like, I don't know why you would not go for 3D audio, as it's of course way cooler to hear sounds from multiple directions. I played through The Last of Us Part 1 recently, and it really works well there. But yeah, now you can hear the differences easily on one screen. And speaking of The Last of Us Part 1, that is one of the games that supports the new updated activity feature. So now next to play game, you can also immediately jump in an activity. Like for me, it's the permadeath mode, because I just finished the game. But I think this is even handier for open world titles with a lot of different content, like Saints Row for example. It immediately lets me boot up the game and start a side mission that I did not do yet. The background of the game on your homepage can also change if there's an image used for the activity, which is kinda cool, but not every game supports this of course, mostly newer PS5 versions of certain titles. Also really nice is the brand new reveal all feature for your trophies, so you can easily reveal all the hidden trophies as well without having to manually unlock them. Of course, be careful though, because these trophies usually contain spoilers. There are also new social features. You can, for example, when in a party with someone, request them to share their screen, so you can of course watch their gameplay in real time, which is still an amazing feature on PlayStation overall. And sending these requests now also works on mobile, so you can easily watch the party members' gameplay while on your phone. And if you are joining a party and own the game that someone in the party is playing, then you can also immediately, with a notification, join that person without having to manually select it yourself. So this like speeds things up. If you get a friend request, and sorry I still need to accept many, but then you now have the accepted request section where you can easily view the profile of the player that just became your friend, which is nice. And when chatting in groups or with just one single person, you can now send voice messages and also stickers from Horizon that I really like, or God of War. Sony also mentions that you can now use your voice to search YouTube videos if you have a PS5 account in the US or the UK, and you don't even have to be in the YouTube app. I tried it and it did not work. Hey PlayStation, find JorRaptor on YouTube. And then it's of course kinda awkward that you talk to your screen and nothing happens. But this was my mistake. I have to like enable the voice commands of course first in the settings. Still though, I now get why some people search JorRaptor and not JorRaptor. Let's have a look. Hey PlayStation. Search JorRaptor on YouTube. So yeah, it does work, and you can also do it while playing a game if you want. Of course, let me know your take on this update. And Tom Henderson, by the way, correctly leaked the launch date of this PS5 update back in August. And in that same tweet, he said that Discord integration on the PS5 is March 8, 2023, if nothing else changes. So basically with the next big PS5 update that is dropping around that time. Pretty huge, and with the first part of this leak being correct, there's a high chance that it's true too. Also huge is the secret new internal redesign. Sony has now already launched in Australia, and high chance that if you get a PS5 later this year, that you will get this version of the console as well. So huge shout outs to YouTuber Austin Evans, who got the new model and showed the changes. For one, this is called the 1200 model, which you can see thanks to the 12 at the beginning of the number. So it's using around the 20 to 30 watts less than previous iterations. It is also almost half a kilo or 1.1 pounds lighter than the launch PS5, which is pretty huge. They also open up the PS5 and compare it to the two previous models. So the launch PS5 and the 1100 model that launched last year. And we now see that for the 1200 model, they completely redid the inside of the machine. This is mostly thanks to the brand new motherboard, which is around the 2 inches smaller than before. Cooling is also slightly different, thanks to a smaller heatsink and an additional heat pipe. Like you can really see that the heatsink is smaller than the previous iterations, and this also costs the console to weigh less. But also other components have been moved around, like the CMOS battery that could be first more easily replaced, but now it's hidden away. Not that you like need to replace it, it's like your real-time clock on your motherboard. If you just keep your console for like more than 10 years, then maybe at one point it would be nice. The SSD closure is slightly changed. Like, the console of course functions the same, but it is interesting that under the hood they changed quite a lot. And on Twitter he notes that this new variant is almost certainly cheaper for Sony to make than the launch PS5, while of course they are raising the price with €50 and other equivalents everywhere in the world except for the US. So that makes it look even more like a dick move. Now Austin knows way more about this new model, he again also has it, so check out his video if you are curious, find a link in the video description. Subscribe for more PlayStation content if you haven't already. A like would of course really help me out. And you can also check out my previous video on some big open world games that were just announced by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.